doing because there's a purity, there's an honesty, there's a uniqueness.
All my life, even as a kid, I would, if I was in a room with a bunch of adults and someone said something that wasn't true, I go, Uncle Johnny, that's not true. You said that. You know, all my life, and I've been told to shut up as a child. And we'd go out with family, and they'd say, Dougie, don't say nothing. Just keep your mouth shut. You know, because I always would say things that they didn't want. You know, I always told the truth. Just open book.
What would you say right now to Dougie?
Somebody asked me that once before, too. I don't know. Because I talk to myself every day. Here's the deal. Every day I get up.
But are you talking to yourself now, or are you talking to yourself when you were 13 years old?
Back then, I didn't talk to myself. I didn't think about anything. I just did it. I knew I loved music, and I did everything I could. I didn't think about anybody around me, how they felt, what was going on. I really didn't, because I remember riding in the car in high school with a friend of mine. Let me backtrack. We were going somewhere, and I asked a friend of mine if I could ride with him. And he said, you can, but don't sing. And I go, what do you mean? He says, because every time I turn the radio on, you sing everything on it louder than the radio. And I'm going, oh, I didn't know that. See, I didn't know. I was just this whirlwind. And either you ignored him, or you tried to slow him down, or you tried to steer him somewhere. But I was on my way. People nowadays that I run into that I knew when I was a kid say, you were all off into that. We knew you were going to do something because you was just hell-bent. They knew that I was just blind. And now when people ask me, and like you asked me, what was I thinking? There was no thought. All I knew was I was running for something. I was looking for something. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't think about it at all. I just knew that I was driven, and I had no direction or no destination. I do remember I was 25, and I heard an Aerosmith song. And I remember they were playing in Chicago, and some kind of commercial or something there. A lot of people were going to see him, and something hit me in my head, and it said, you should be a rock star, and people will love you. And the only way I can say that is because I never felt anyone loved me or cared about me. And so I never paid attention if someone did give me attention, because I thought it wasn't real, or they were just making fun of me, or I just didn't believe them. So I just went and did what I did. And now I look back and realize I had another thought in my head, and it left because I wanted to tie the two together about doing what I do. Now I look back and go, oh man, it was all from dysfunction. Well, my mom left me when I was 3, and my grandmother said my mother didn't want to be bothered with me. From that point on, I immersed myself in what I wanted to do, and I did it. I flunked everything in school. I've hurt friends. I've just ignored people become friends with people, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about my music and find a band, and I don't even talk to them no more. I didn't realize that I was so blind. One time I lived in a house with a friend of mine. We moved right when I started King's X. A friend of mine moved to Missouri with me. He didn't want me to go by myself. He said, I'm going to, because he wanted to get out of town too. So we got a place. We're best friends. We had a great time. About a year we lived with each other. And in that time, the band started and things started happening. And I started, the whole band lived in the house after a while, and road crew. And one day Mark just says, hey, I got a room over at another place. I'm going to move. Oh, okay. And I'm going, okay, no big deal. Years later, he said to me, he says, dude, it was like I didn't exist anymore. I didn't even live in the house. He said, I just felt like I didn't matter, and I didn't even realize I did that to him. That's why I wrote the song about I will hurt you. It's what I do. Please forgive me. You don't have to. I don't realize over and over again I let you down. And I felt that way about myself. I felt that way with God. I felt that way with my family. I felt that way with everybody that I knew, that they would come and love me, and I would hurt their feelings because I felt like nobody loved me, and they couldn't anyway. And it got to be a whirlwind of not thought as much as ignore it and make music.
That's
amazing.
And
pour it into the music. I can't believe some of the things I've said. My mother even said, do you have to tell our business in your songs? I'm going, Mom, I'm just sharing my heart, my feelings. you know, because people don't want to wear this. They're afraid. I'm not afraid to wear my heart on my sleeve, because everything that I am, so many people have hated through history that I don't care no more. You know, this is me. You either love me or hate me. I'm not going to be somebody else anymore. Christianity taught me to be somebody else, and I was a fake all the time. I did everything that I thought God wanted me to do, not what I wanted. I didn't even think about what I wanted. It was always what the Bible says. I got to do this, I got to do that. And finally one day I realized, well, if you're going to sing about honesty and sing about truth and sing about real things, you better be real yourself. And that's and what changed that for me when I started doing that was 1981. I heard October by U2. And Bono, the first song was Gloria. I thought, oh, this is a song about a girl. I put it on, and he's saying, oh, Lord, if I have anything, I give it to you. And then he goes into Gloria in sede, whatever it is. It was Latin. I forgot what it is. But and then at the end of it, it's a praise to God. And I went, he's a Christian. He's singing praises to God. He's doing everything that I wanted to do but didn't know how to do it. And I went, he was honest. He said, I fall down and I can't find my feet. I went to a church that encouraged you not to talk about bad and just, oh, God is this and God loves me. I'm praying every day and God is helping me. But you didn't say, I don't know who I am or where I'm going. Because the church would go, but God knows, blah, 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 blah. And they always pour this dogma at you. And you felt like, okay, it was all words and stuff. And Bono said, no, this is me. And then I started reading about him. His mom died when he was young. And like, will you come back tomorrow? Can I stay tonight? And I'm going, what is that song about? He says, outside there's a black car parking lot. I'm going, what? Later when I read about it, his mom had died and he didn't want to go to the funeral. And in the end of the song, he says, I'm coming, Jesus coming. And he's talking about his mom believing she's going to heaven. But he said Jesus in a rock song. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. You can do this if you just say what you feel in your heart. And that day changed. My lyrics changed. Everything changed. And I started to become real, be myself. You don't like me, that's fine. I came out in a Christian magazine just to do it. Because I knew if I do it there, all hell will break loose. They took all our records out of Christian bookstores, and I'm not a part of the fold anymore, which I wanted. And Ty even said, I'm so glad now we don't have to be what they want us to be, because that's all you get is judgment, you know. And I've watched even Bob Dylan when he got saved, supposedly, you know, right at that point he puts out a Christian record, and the church goes, oh, Bob Dylan, and he's not mature enough yet because he's still singing about this or that. And they judged him. And I'm going, I just don't want to be a part of it. So make a long story short, all that drove me to what I do now.
and God bless you for that.
And more.
No, really, that is great. I mean, but what is religion if it's not our relationship with a higher power?
I believe that you can have a relationship with a higher power. You can have a relationship with God. Even, one of my best buddies, he believes in Jesus wholeheartedly, died for his sins, going to go to heaven, the whole deal. And I accept that. And he doesn't even know anything in the Bible. He doesn't follow the Ten Commandments. He doesn't do anything. But he believes in Jesus. And I go, whatever you believe in, believe in. And keep searching for truth. And keep adding to it. Don't say this is the way and this is it. I've changed my mind every month, every week, every year. People who feel like they live in a stable religion or a stable place consider me someone who's lost and still confused. And I'm not lost or confused. I'm just gathering as much information as I can to make a correct decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if that's lost or confused, then I guess I am,
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at what you're saying, which I completely agree, is a decision of what the truth is.
Exactly.
And that's what we're looking for, the truth. Mm-hmm. And once we find that truth, we're free. We're free from anybody else's idea of what we should be thinking and behaving and looking and acting according to what they think we should be. it's mind-boggling to me how many people now in the world make a decision, and sometimes they call you friends. Well, if you want to be my friend, you got to think like this.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't much of a friend to begin with.
Really?
You were telling me that
Really?
this is the way that I have to think and feel and act, you know. And all we're looking for, even as musicians, music to me is the lifelong journey for the truth.
Yeah.
Because in every single note that we sing, especially in your case, and play, we're looking for that the truth in that note. Every single moment, every note is a now, now, now.
You're right, and I've never heard of it said like that. You're so right. That's awesome.
But you felt it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I felt that, but I never could put it into words. My whole life has been trying to put my feelings into words, which is something that I think is kind of impossible, but it sure is a nice journey and fun to do.
If you're putting into words, it's because you want to communicate the feeling with other people. But in your case, you do not need words. All they need to do is to listen to your music. It's all in there. It's very simple. You know, it's very clear. There's a lot of clarity to you. You know, even though you've had a past where people have even tell you, don't sing. Come on. Telling you not to sing?
My mom told me when I was 16, she said, well, you quit that bellowing, you can't sing anyway. But 30 years later, when I still can't deal with listening to my voice on a record, I realized that she was trying to take a nap. I'm 16. It's Saturday afternoon, and I've been singing at the top of my lungs all day long, and she was just tired of me. I sang. Oh, I was obnoxious. I sang all the time. When there was music on, I sang along with it. I look back now and realize I must have drove people crazy. Literally.
Now they have to pay a lot of money to hear you sing.
No, they don't have to pay that much, but
oh, they do. Oh, they do. They do. Well, listen, this has been glorious.
We have to do this again, part 2.
Definitely. I mean, we're just scratching the surface.
Scratched the surface, dude.
I mean, thank God you exist.
Oh, thank you, and you too.
Yeah,
and thank you very much.
I
don't take compliments very well, but thank you. I have to learn to just say thank you.
Well, I think your biggest gift when you thank us is that you make music, your music.
You're welcome.
And I think that is your way of saying thank you.
Cool.
To the world.
I can live with that.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome,
God
Rudy.
bless you.
Thank you. God bless you, too.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Love you.